Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we've got a highly specific and absolutely crucial mission. We are going to help you, the e-commerce seller and SMB importer, bulletproof how you evaluate your logistics partners. Look, if you're shipping goods from China to the USA, your supply chain is literally the lifeblood of your business. But if you don't have the right partner, it can also be a massive, gaping hole in your profit margins. So we're going to take some expert data from AEB Logistics and build out a totally foolproof scorecard to evaluate your freight forwarders. Let's get into it.
I mean, we've all heard the horror stories, right? The absolute nightmare of getting hit with unexpected port fees, sudden customs holds, or having your Amazon FBA inventory just stuck in limbo. It plagues so many of us in the SMB space. You get a quote that looks fantastic on paper, you run your numbers, set your retail price, and then, bam, the shipment hits the US and you're staring at an invoice you never saw coming. It's stressful, and honestly, like this quote so perfectly nails, it completely eats your profit margins.
To fix this, we're laying out a totally BS-free roadmap for you today. First, we'll cover the SMB shipping dilemma, then the forwarder scorecard demo. After that, we'll hit evaluating costs and insurance, then tracking and account management, and we'll wrap it all up with 5 essential SMB checks. Okay, Section 1, the SMB shipping dilemma. Let's talk about navigating those complex terms and hidden risks.
The second you start shipping freight from China to the US, you are immediately thrown into this crazy sea of complicated shipping terms. You're just trying to build a brand, and suddenly you're expected to be an expert in ocean freight and international trade law, and it all really boils down to this one critical question. When literally every company out there claims to be the cheapest and the fastest, how do you actually choose the right freight forwarding partner for your specific setup? Well, let's dive into that.
Section 2, the forwarder scorecard demo. Time for some objective evaluation. To actually evaluate these partners objectively, we've synthesized a ton of industry data into a forwarder scorecard. But real quick, before we start comparing companies, we have to demystify some crucial jargon, starting with DDP. That stands for Delivered Duty Paid. In this kind of agreement, the seller or forwarder assumes all the responsibility, risk, and costs, including those pesky customs duties, right up until the goods hit your door. Now, DDP is incredibly popular for Amazon FBA sellers because it feels like this great hands-off, all-inclusive solution. But here's the catch. It carries massive risks if your forwarder isn't reliable. If they decide to cut corners on US customs clearance just to save a few bucks, it's your inventory that gets seized. No way around it.
Now, what's really interesting here is how you see the natural trade-offs between different types of forwarders. On one side, you've got China-based forwarders. They offer direct origin control and super competitive local rates simply because they have boots on the ground right where your goods are being made. On the flip side, USA-based forwarders bring deep domestic customs expertise and, crucially, local time zone communication. That is an absolute lifesaver when you're scrambling to resolve a delay in LA or New York. So your scorecard really needs to reflect which of these advantages is the absolute must-have for your current scale.
Section 3, evaluating costs and insurance. Let's reveal those true landed costs.
This brings us to what is easily the most critical pillar of our whole scorecard, tearing away the smoke and mirrors of those artificially low initial quotes. Take a look at this typical China to USA landed cost breakdown. Over on the left, in a transparent quote, everything is clearly itemized. Your base freight, customs brokerage, destination fees, cargo insurance, the whole shebang. But look at the hidden cost quote. The base freight might look super tempting, right? But the customs brokerage is left intentionally vague. Even worse, the destination fees are often completely left off until your cargo actually hits the US port. Oh, and cargo insurance? Often ignored entirely or just wildly overpriced. This right here shows you exactly where the surprise charges usually hide when you're trying to nail down your true import costs.
And speaking of hidden costs, we've got to talk about another notoriously dangerous term for new SMBs, CIF, or Cost, Insurance, and Freight. Under a CIF agreement, the seller basically gets your goods to the destination port and that's it. They're done. You are left completely vulnerable to local port agents who can, and absolutely will, slap you with massive, unexpected handling charges just so you can get your own cargo released. Honestly, falling for this is one of the most common and expensive mistakes you can make when shipping from China to the US.
And this brilliantly illustrates the CIF trap in action. You start off with this initial cheap quote, the low bar there, which is probably what made you choose that forwarder in the first place. But then those hidden CIF destination fees get tacked on the second your container actually hits the port. Suddenly, your total actual landed cost skyrockets to that highest bar. And just like that seemingly cheap initial quote has completely destroyed your true profit margins upon arrival.
Section 4. Tracking and Account Management. Protecting your sanity.
Okay, so we've protected your wallet, now let's protect your sanity. Think about the sheer absolute anxiety of having 50 grand worth of inventory floating somewhere out in the Pacific Ocean, and your only update is some delayed manual email from an agent who takes 2 full days to reply. That's operating in a total blind spot. Contrast that with modern live tracking. You get real-time milestone visibility and proactive alerts. Listen, in today's insanely fast-paced e-commerce environment, live tracking isn't some fancy luxury. It is an absolute necessity if you want to manage your supply chain effectively.
And this is especially true if you're an Amazon seller. Just look at these Amazon FBA shipping essentials. We all know Amazon enforces incredibly strict delivery windows. They require exact, down-to-the-letter palletizing and labeling compliance. You absolutely need flawless DDP customs clearance so your goods flow straight into the fulfillment center without a single hitch. And if a truck breaks down, you need rapid issue resolution. Your account manager has to be a proactive logistics expert who actually understands Amazon's rigid ecosystem inside and out. They can't just be a passive middleman forwarding your emails.
Section 5. 5 Essential SMB Checks. Your ultimate logistics checklist.
So, let's consolidate this entire scorecard into a quick, actionable screening tool that you should use before you book any freight. Step 1. Verify quote inclusions by demanding a strict line-by-line breakdown. Step 2. Confirm destination charges. Literally ask them explicitly, are there any fees I'm going to pay upon arrival? Step 3. Check your cargo insurance. Make sure your goods are covered for their full retail value, not just by weight. For Step 4, demand tracking visibility. If they can't show you a live tracking dashboard, just walk away. And finally, Step 5, assess account management quality. Test their communication speed and their industry knowledge before you hand over a single box of cargo.
I want to leave you with this final thought to really chew on as you start planning your next inventory run. I want you to take a hard look at your last 3 shipments. Are hidden shipping costs secretly destroying your true e-commerce profit margins? I challenge you to audit your current logistics setup using those 5 checks we just walked through. Demand better transparency, demand real-time tracking, and take back control of your supply chain. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and here's to shipping smarter,